Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. When you're dealing with a political administration that's seemingly always working against the will of the people that it represents, polling oftentimes provides clarity to reassure you that you are not actually crazy, that they are. We have a couple different instances of that for you in the show tonight. The first, an Economist YouGov poll, certainly not a conservative poll by any stretch, indicating only 33% of Americans approve of the Biden administration's handling of the southern border. 33%. If you're trying to get reelected on the border, that ain't how you do it. Americans of all political stripes resoundingly despise having an open southern border. And yet we have one. And it's been under assault since Joe Biden took office. Biden welcomed the entire world to come into the United States through Mexico from the campaign trail. The pandering, open border would-be president of the United States.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard.
Surge the border. He made it clear to the world, and the world came. Not just Mexico, not just the Northern Triangle. People from the Middle East, people from Africa come into this country illegally through our southern border. It is an absolute free-for-all. It is a disaster. Ask anybody that works down there. Ask people that live near it. As Biden policies set up our Border Patrol to fail, removing most of the common sense policies that kept everything sane during the Trump years. Right now, the Border Patrol is preparing to handle 18,000 crossings a day. 18,000 people a day as a new flood of humanity heads for the United States. This time on the invitation, it says Title 42, actually the repealing of Title 42, technically, a program allowing for the expulsion of anyone from a country where a communicable disease is present. It was one of the ways that we managed the border effectively, and it is the last thing that's helping to manage the border right now. It's the last final article we have to keep this under control, and it's hanging by a thread tonight. The cartels are selling access to the United States right now based on the knowledge that the Biden White House is getting ready to make another completely illogical border decision, all in the name of virtue. At one point in time, Chuck Schumer was a fairly level-headed politician. He no longer is. On Title 42, he said continuing this Trump-era policy defies common sense and common decency. Now's the time to stop the madness. President Biden must fulfill his promise to fully restore our refugee laws, bring order to the border, and stop the use of Title 42 to justify these deportations. You see how he just threw in bring order to the border in the middle there? Just his way of pretending he's not an open border zealot. Let me just, in the middle here, when nobody's paying attention, I'll just write, oh yeah, we need to not, make this thing a disaster like we already have. So fake. Ending Title 42 is an idea so ridiculous, even Democrats are against it. So far, 5 Democrat senators, including both Democrat senators from the state of Arizona, a state that'll actually be directly affected by this. That pair saying, we urge your administration not to make any changes to Title 42 implementation until you are completely ready to execute and coordinate a comprehensive plan that ensures a secure, orderly, and humane process at the border. But we know that's not going to happen. We know that. What's going to happen is it's going to be mayhem all over again. Even though the polling says nobody wants it, for some reason this White House, again on another issue, wants to do something that Americans hate. We're trying to figure out why. Mitch McConnell had a great speech about this today. Take a listen.
We just saw the worst 12-month period for illegal crossings since at least, listen to this, 1960. This is with Title 42 in place. Just imagine if President Biden kills it. Republicans and the American people reject this false choice between permanent COVID versus open borders. We can't only be a sovereign nation during pandemics. Americans deserve secure borders all the time.
Best point he made was, imagine how bad it's going to be without Title 42. It's this bad with Title 42 because they've already eviscerated every other common sense border policy we had. They got this last one. And George Soros is pumping money in saying, come on, let's get rid of it. Let's fully open this thing up. Also today, Texas Congressman Chip Roy.
In March, we've had 100,000 apprehensions in the first half of the month, barreling towards 200,000, of which half have been able to be turned away under Title 42.
Even if they don't get rid of Title 42, let me just illustrate this to you. Even if we keep Title 42, which it doesn't seem like we are, even if we kept it, we would still break all the records that have ever been kept on border crossings in this country. We're on that trajectory now. It's only going to get worse in the coming months. And we're already on a trajectory to break every record we've ever had as far as border crossings. And they want to exacerbate that further. This decision defies all logic, but logic doesn't often apply in liberal politics these days. You know that. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the promises Democrats made to their militant left wing when Donald Trump was in office and the promises made during the primary season, 2020, which was a race to the left, as you know. Any common sense policy that inhibited these so-called asylum seekers was effectively equated to fascism.
It almost feels like a little ethnic cleansing is going on in the United States right now.
Increasingly, Donald Trump is turning this nation into Nazi Germany.
Trump no doubt learned from any number of authoritarian leaders over the last 90 years. Ataturk, Franco, Mussolini, Stalin, and Hitler.
You know what the country's biggest problem is? People like that. The idiots you just heard. It's staggering. They just say anything they want. Common sense is fascism, is Nazism, having a secure border. Are they out of their minds? Who are these people? How on earth can you even say something so audacious and ridiculous and keep a straight face? How do you go to sleep at night? I mean, what kind of a clown show are these people living in? We should put all their addresses on the screen. You want to come across? Here's where you go. They've got beds and food, everything you could possibly want. So now we can no longer secure our border because every single person that comes here is an asylum seeker. And even though every single American knows this is nothing more than a con job because we have common sense, knowing that our system is simply being gamed by cartels and people that just know how to get in now, Democrats are still pretending that these asylum claims are legitimate because they want the border open for their own reasons, no matter what the cost. And make no mistake, open border policies that make liberals feel good inflict untold amounts of real pain. According to Brandon Judd, who's been on the show many times, president of the National Border Patrol Council, cartels charge between $6,000 and $10,000 American dollars to help immigrants who in reality are victims cross from Mexico into the United States illegally. You know how much 10 grand is to a migrant? It's a fortune. Many of these victims are young women who spend up to 3 years paying off their $10,000 debt to the cartel through sex trafficking. So we're stocking the country with prostitutes who don't want to do it. That's what the equity of an open border is to the Democrat Party. Lovely. Also, a May 2017 report from Doctors Without Borders saying that of more than 400 people surveyed in Mexico at facilities that help migrants, a third, 31.4% of women had been sexually abused during their transit through Mexico. So we're creating rape victims and prostitutes in the United States against their will. This is the party of women, right? This new video shows border agents responding to a vehicle in flames. This is from today. This was a high-speed chase, smuggling car. This happens every single day. This one, though, crashed and immediately lit in the flames. And from the back of that SUV, they pull a black duffel bag out of the trunk, and inside, a woman pops out of a black duffel bag. This is what equity is. This is the Democrat agenda right there in that picture. A car in flames, a woman being pulled out of a bag. Was she raped on the way? Who knows? Does she have to sell her body now to pay off a cartel that's getting rich off Biden policies? Who knows? Think they care? They don't care.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Experts are warning the current 40-year inflation high will only get worse. See how to protect your IRA with gold. Get a free info kit like this one at birchgold.com/Newsmax. There's no cost. There's no obligation. Just get your free info kit at birchgold.com/Newsmax.